Everybody, welcome back to a next Fascia Fit live show. If we haven't met yet, my name is Miranda Tabak and I'm a somatic energetic psychotherapist specialized in releasing stress and tension traumas in the connective tissue, our fascia, and all for you to live more free emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, financially, full spectrum. So, who is there with me? Leave me some hearts, likes, so I know I'm not alone. And I'm curious again if you will hear me as I'm constantly playing with my microphone and it's now lying on my table. So, let me know. Um, yeah, so today's going to be very interesting. And I'm looking at myself and I see my earrings, and it's like kind of a bridge towards what we're going to talk about today, because I got these cute earrings from my son for Mother's Day, and I couldn't wear them because they didn't really fit my clothes. And this morning, he said, like, "Hey, Mom, when are you going to wear my earrings?" So I said, "Today." And then I remember, oh, I have the live show. So that was very cute. But he gave me something else, which actually really covers, but also is really, how to say that? Covers today's topic, but in general for fascia fit and self-care, because he came back from vacation with his father and he brought me this stone with "I love you" curved in it. So yeah, leave us some hearts. And today we're going to talk about judgment and our inner critic and how to change that via through the fascia. So I'm very excited about it because I recently found this technique which I can then combine with these things. So I'm very enthusiastic to share this with you guys. So let's talk about the inner critic, the judgment. It's that voice inside of us that speaks to us and judges ourselves. And it's like, I always say, like, can you relate to it? But I know deeply everybody has that voice. Everybody has that voice that judges yourself. Only I do this work for quite some time now, and it becomes sometimes a little in the background. It's not that loud anymore. And if it comes, you have the tools to work with it. However, every time you stretch yourself, it becomes a little bit more louder. So, as I'm all about going to the next level, um, expanding yourself, freeing yourself every time a layer more, and coming deeper into your true nature, into your essence. So let me share a story with you, and after that we're going to look at how that sits and forms our fascia and our body. So it was last week. I stretched myself tremendously by being the social ambassador for the Energy Balancing Institute. The work is so close to me. I would say it's embodied. It's like, I love it. And so I felt very blessed to go live for them and share the work. However, I was so nervous before that during that live show, you could really tell. And even though English is not my native language, I can express myself quite well with some crazy things in between. But during that live show, I was really stumbling over my words. And it was awkward because it was live. It's now broadcasted. I don't know where it goes, all over the world. And so that inner voice inside of me started to speak. You done this wrong. This you could have done better. And, I mean, still, it's nice if you can say like, yes, you can relate to that, but um, I suddenly felt how that inner voice was so loud again, and I was watching it, like how it speaks to you. And I also realized that when I work with my clients, the way they talk to themselves, and how they judge themselves, you would never ever talk that way to your dearest friend. And that's what I always say to my clients, like, would you say those things to a friend or a child that's so dear to your heart? And oftentimes it's like you cannot imagine saying those things. So, yeah, so I always try to be like, imagine yourself as your best friend, as your most intimate lover, and try to talk to yourself that way. Um, But where I want to take you guys is how that feels in the body, because this inner critic has a location in the body, and it sits in the area between your eyebrows. So we call that in inner work the third eye chakra. And I just want to take you guys through the experience. I can tell you things and you just don't believe me. I would love for you to experience it and be your own, how to say it, researcher, if it's true for you. So maybe we can all tune into a situation. Often it's easier when it's recent. So a recent situation where you felt you were judging yourself for the things you do. Um, or maybe sometimes in the beginning it's easier to judge someone else and to see that something you disliked, something you did not agree with, or disapproved, and you felt you were like, pointing the finger, whether it's inside, it's the inner critic, or outside, someone around you, a colleague, a partner, whatever it is. So tune in for a moment to that situation where you felt this dislike, this disapproval. So for me, that was last week, where I felt I had not performed at my fullest potential, and I was criticizing myself for it. And really, like, look at that picture and let those thoughts, those voices, those sentences just arise. And just let it happen for a moment. The next step is to really feel what is happening in your body, and particularly the space between eyebrows. When I now open my eyes, I already see it. It becomes like you are focusing on something that is not right, that you disapprove, and this, you can see it. I have this wrinkle here. It's like the whole fascia becomes tense, and you will feel it throughout your whole body. Like when I really in it, like my jaws becoming tense, and you can feel it throughout your whole fascia, throughout your whole connective tissue. What this judgment is doing to your connective tissue, and particularly the space between your eyebrows, the third eye chakra. Your vision narrows. And what we want to do, I always like to bring you to that point where you really feel like, okay, this is where I came from, and we want to change it. So let me share you a little bit about the third eye. I draw it for you. So that's the space between the eyebrows, and it has a lower component, the lower third eye, and that sits more. There sits your inner critic. It's judging. It's from a lower perspective, I would say. And then you have the upper third eye that is connected to your higher intelligence, to really, as if you are like taking a step back. And I always have the visualization as if I stepping into a helicopter, and I'm looking from above, from the upper third eye, and am not so emotionally attached. So it's like kind of detachment. So are you guys following me? I see there are some viewers, so I'm very curious who is there with me. And yeah, if you can follow me. So let me know as I prepare the next step. So the next step would be, we felt it, what it was doing to our connective tissue in our face, is that we become one pointed, and this narrows, it tends up. And I have this lovely new tool, which I really like. Ah, nice. Hi, Heidi, Misha. Thank you for being there. It's always nice. Hey, Ineke, you're here too. That's great. I miss you guys from the Fascia Fit Fridays. Soon to be followed up. So what I am preparing for you guys is a new technique, and normally I work with the balls, the fascia balls, and that gives a compression, and then we roll. But today I want to share with you a decompression method with a cup. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put some coconut oil on my face. It's kind of like strange to do this on a live show, but yeah, it's for the higher good, and I will bring my hair back. So Heidi, mooi uitgelegd. I'm happy you guys following me, and it makes some sense. So I put some coconut oil on my face. And if you do not have a cup, because this is like very spontaneous method I put in, you can also do it with your hands. Yeah, so I will do it with the cup, but you can do it with the hands. So we have tuned into the third eye, to the space between our eyebrows, what judgment is doing to our whole facial and fascia structure. And what we want to do is repolarize. So we want to bring this, not like, we want to open it up. We want to open your vision, open your mind, and we're going to do this with a decompression method. So I have this cup, and I press it, I squeeze it, I place it on my third eye, and then I gently pull up. And I'm really breathing through. So I do that a couple of times. And if you do not have the cup, just use your hands. You can like really rub it upwards. And I do this with this cup. Oh, it's so lovely. It's like, what I feel is as if I pull my energy backwards, back to myself, and detach from that narrow vision, from the criticism, pull myself upwards, opening my fascia, and also to the side. So I start with putting it like on the space between my eyebrows, gently pulling up, and also then to the sides. So if you're doing it with your hands, you just do it like this, and really like, you can do this quite strong. You might feel some tensions already around it, and also to the sides. And breathe. So if you do it with your hands, just do it like this. And breathe. So I will show it with the cup. Make sure if you do this that The shoulders are not too tense, so that you are not like because you have to pull, but relax the shoulders and open up. Breathing through. And it's so lovely because if you really tune in, like I really feel my forehead, it's really opening, has more space. And certainly for people also who have a lot of skull pain and headaches, it's very good to do this exercise. And if you want to like make yourself a little bit beautiful, more beautiful than you already are, then I also do my face. So it's like kind of like a natural facelift. So it's all about full spectrum, you know. It's not only the psychology behind it, the physical things. It's really full spectrum. So, who did it with their hands? Who's working with their hands and feel a difference? You know, really rubbing up. En voor those wordt er helemaal zen van. Oh, that's cool. Stephanie, I haven't met you before, haven't I? It's great. I always love to meet new people. And if you are familiar with energy work, you can finish it up by opening your energy field even more. It's so nice. Just, you know, these lower nature, these emotions are really pulling us down, really pulling us in the mud. And you have the tools. Oftentimes you feel you are, how to say that? You are not in control, or it's happening to you. Know that you always have the tools to detach, to not let your life rule by emotions or criticism, but really pull back, opening up, opening your fascia, opening your mind, opening your energy body, and then look at the same issue or situation again from a higher perspective. And I always ask myself, you know, what would a loving, you know, loving person say? What would you say to a friend that was in that situation? And try to talk to yourself more from that space, more from the heart, more from a higher intelligence. And you will notice that what comes out is very different than our lower nature talking to us. So let me give you just to end. Oh, sorry. Many years ago was living in the neighborhood. Oh, okay. You are doing great. It makes me relaxing. Oh, that's great. I'm very curious. So let me just end by sharing an example. Like I shared that last week I was struggling with stretching myself, going live for the Energy Balancing Institute, and stumbling over my English as I was very nervous. And I started to criticize myself and had thoughts that I should not do it, but someone else is much, much better. What I then did is I tell myself, yes, I could have done better, but I'm compassionate with myself. We are all in a learning process. And part of that process, part of the evolution is going out of comfort, stretching yourself, and love yourself all the way through it, because we all bump into those same things. I'm wishing you a loving week. I will come back to you next week instead of 2 weeks, because in 2 weeks I will be in Germany diving myself deeper into inner work. So I will come back to you next week, and we're going to take this topic of self-care and self-love even further with the fascia balls. And I'm looking very much forward to it. If this was in any way helpful, if you think other people will benefit from it, share it with them, leave some hearts, some likes, so we can spread our heart and our self-love all over the world. Thank you for being here. See you next week.